Alright guys, I just want to share with you real quick this little frame assembly jig I built. I was a little skeptical before I started building it just because I feel like when I'm putting frames together I'm pretty quick about it when I was doing it free-handed. The biggest component really to being fast is an air nailer or an air stapler. But I know there's another guy who's got a video out there that I'd seen where he built basically the same thing. It's nothing fancy, nothing crazy, so I just want to share it with you real quick. All I did was I built almost the same square dimensions as a regular 10 frame hive. The only exception is that the length is a ½ an inch shorter, and I did that so that the frames would fit more snugly. As you know, if you drop a frame in a hive, you can slide it back and forth a lot more than this because it has space on both sides for the bees. But I wanted it to hold these frames when they were, unassembled as snugly as possible. But anyway, other than that, it's just a square box, and in the ends you cut slots that allow you to slide a stopper board through here. So what you do is when you're setting up, you slide this board in, goes all the way across, you slide across, and that leaves a narrow groove right here. And then you go through and you just stand all your end bars up in this groove. So I stood up 10 of them. You can do 8 or 5 or whatever you want to do. Do the same thing on the other end. And then with all of your end bars stood up, we'll go across the top and set in all of your top bars. And make sure you're squared up and you're snug on both ends. So if you want to use a rubber mallet, or I just use my hand, I just want to give it a little thump, make sure they're down tight. Some people recommend gluing your frames. I don't. I just haven't seen the need. These are 1.5 inch long, 3/16 crown staples. So the fact that they get 1.5 inches, that gets you, ½ an inch through the top bar and then a whole inch into the side bar. So it's a good hold. I had a couple frames I got from somebody else that had just a single little nail through the top here, and those fall apart all the time. I think that nail just doesn't hold as tight. The nail's not as long. I am going to look at getting some resin coated staples though, just to kind of help out, but I don't use glue. Anyway, run them across the top, thump them up nice and snug, and then you pick up your nail gun. Now these are already nailed because I wanted to make sure it worked, but then it's real quick, just line up, pop, 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 pop. So it makes it a lot faster because you're not having to hold each frame in place. I don't think I had any shiners, maybe one. But anyway, once you've done all the top bars, the cool thing about it is that you can grab the side over here, which I'll grab, grab both sides, and you just lift it. You lift it straight up so that all the frames. Let me see if I can get to where y'all can see. If I set it back here, there we go. So I'll try to. Well, let's try this instead. Let's put it over here. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, hang on. I gotta get leveled on something. Balanced. Balance the old phone here so it doesn't fall over. Anyway, so get it leveled up like that. Give it a quick flip, and then you can put in all your bottom bars, and the same thing, right across the top, staple them down. And that's it. You're done putting them together. Then all you gotta do, grab your bars here, slide these back out, and your frames will be free. Now, what I realized I can do, and I didn't really plan on this, and I hadn't seen anybody else say it, realize what I can do is when I go to put all 10 frames into a box, because what I do is as I build my own boxes, I build frames to fill them. So when I'm ready to put these into a box, instead of pulling this bar and transferring them all one at a time, what I'm going to do is just pick it up, flip it back over, and with all your frames hanging, like that, you'll be able to set it right on top of your deep or your medium, whatever you're nailed up for. Set it right on top and let it hang under its own weight. And then you can go through and just pull out the bars, and all your frames will fall straight down into the box. So certainly makes it a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Like I said, I was skeptical, but now that I got it put together, it probably is a lot faster. You spend a little bit of time on setup. Obviously, you're standing all 10 end bars up, so you spend a little bit more time on that. But you save yourself an awful lot of time of sitting there trying to hold each frame in place while you shoot a staple in it. So just thought I'd show it to you guys, share it with you. Might make another video here in a little bit, or might add on to the end of this and actually show you nailing up 10 frames. But I got to run in the house real quick and see. My wife just came out here and asked me for help on something. Alright, y'all can time me on trying to put together 10 of these frames. Now this is only the second round I've done, but we'll just see how long it takes. So hit go. Run them through first, Stand up all 10 of your end pieces. Now clearly if I could have prepped a little better for this, but I was going to do this real quick. I was out here to do some other stuff actually. Remember that I promised y'all I'd do it. I didn't end up getting back out here last night to do it. Now this is set up for 10. Again, you could use this same frame for 5 or 8, whatever you wanted. It's not quite wide enough for 11, I don't believe. And I don't know why you would do 11 anyway. That's just because you wanted to. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you could squeeze 11, but I'm not going to. Okay, so I'll tear those in. And I'm going to grab my 10 top bars. Line up on one end, line up on the other end. Notice I didn't use any glue. I just don't. It's just my preference. I don't have anything against it. I just don't really see the need for it. I've yet to pull apart one of my frames. Using the 1.5" nails or 1.5" staples seems to really help. But I have pulled apart frames that were put together with nails and not these pneumatic staples. I know a lot of people like to use a little bit of wood glue or Type Bond. I think I'll look for some resin coated staples. I just haven't yet. Again, you look at this, it seems like you're wasting a lot of time, but if y'all go back and watch my video where I freehand put them together, and actually I'll have to go back and watch that one too and see how long it took me to do one freehanded. I got a little surprise for y'all at the end of this one, why this is kind of cool. When it's all done, they're all in this rack. But all right, got all 10 of the tops put together. They're rocking back and forth on me a little bit just because I'm sitting on my table saw and it's got grooves in it. But next up, we'll grab my air gun. Pressure's good on about 85. Last night my gun was acting up on me, so I might do it now again. But anyway, just gonna run down the line. Oh, there's a shiner. Here, doing those dry fires. I do aim if you get your whole row done, and once you fix the other shiners that you have. Come on. There it goes. Do any shiners on the other end? Nope, good on the other end. Here's the fun part. Pick it up, flip it over, and now put on your bottles. And it's a little more stable now. At least for me, if you had a flat work surface, you'd have been stable the whole time. But it's a little more stable now for me just because the grooves in my tabletop aren't as pronounced. The top bars kind of float them. Something y'all might consider is if you're wanting to make if you know you're going to be making mostly deeps, make this thing a little taller. I made it shallow enough that I could do deeps and mediums. I don't run any shallows, so I didn't make it shallow enough to fit those. But if I had, it would have been really narrow and it would have made doing deeps in it a little bit difficult. But anyway, got all the bottoms on. A little thump just for good measure. Get your nail gun again. And hope it runs all the way through. I don't know if I'm not holding up good or what. I don't know if these guns are really rated for the use I put them to. If I take my time, maybe it's not so bad. So the frames are done, just like that. Now here's the fun part. Here's the bonus. Take your frames, screw them off to the side. I'll use an inner cover just for a flat surface to work with. Use a piece of cardboard, use whatever you want, I don't care. Pick your frames up, move them back on top of this. Remember, this frame assembly jig is a little bit smaller, just a little bit shorter. So just give you something flat to put on top of. Then you're going to take your empty deep box upside down. Slide it on over top of the frames. You know I did it wrong. Take that back. First, slide out your stoppers. So now the frame is free floating. Take your jig off, your assembly jig. Frames don't fall over, you get lucky. Now take your box upside down. Get it over your frames. Flip it over. You got a box full of frames. Voila. So, I guess I'm a believer. When I saw the video about making this jig a long time ago, I thought, well, I'm pretty quick with sticking them together myself. But I really think this thing is a lot faster, especially to be able to fill the box real quick like that. Now, granted, the frames, I'm still going to pick them all out one at a time and put foundation of some sort in them, or strip of beeswax at a minimum, which is what I normally do. Anyway, give it a go. It's just a square box with some slots cut in it. Nothing difficult. I think y'all got it on the main of the video, so I'm not going to show it to you again. But if if you can't figure it out from the first part when I showed it, I guess I can add back to this later. Y'all just comment below and let me know. But it's really simple. The only key, I don't know if I told you the dimensions or not, but this slot is cut out a ½ inch to hold the frames. These are 3/8 inch, but I cut the slot to be a ½ inch to hold the frame, and then another 3/4 inch to hold the guide boards here. So it's 1.5 inches, or 1.25 inches, I'm sorry. Total notch cut out, and it's just 3 inches high with these little slides. So again, just a wooden box, nothing special, nothing fancy. Y'all can build it from scrap. That's what I did. So give it a go. Let me know what you think.